All right, welcome everyone. We're Semblance of Sanity. I'm Caleb.
I'm Jacob.
And we're here for
Legend of the Galactic Heroes, episode 42. The answer to everything.
Ragnarok is commencing.
Yep.
We have Julian and Ragnarok moving in tandem. We have also a very clear, very specific strategy that Reinhardt is setting up.
Right.
He is moving through the Isilon Corridor with a portion of his fleet.
Yeah.
That, well, technically, we don't even know if he's necessarily going to be on that fleet. If anything, I would assume he would go through the Fejon Corridor, yeah, because it's a larger fleet and it's their main fleet. But that means in some ways that they will have the potential issue of having their forces split. Now, their fleet is going to be not only large, the small fleet will be larger than what they sent through recently.
Yep.
So yeah, they're going to be sending a lot of ships. But Yang is currently dealing with his own, deal of, well, he's going to be one without Julian, but
that
also yeah, he's not really a fan of the way things have been going with the Alliance. So yeah, there could be some issues on that front.
Yeah.
And then deciding, okay, once he's, aware that his prediction was right,
Right.
that they will come through the Fejon Corridor, well, what do you do?
Right.
What do you do in response, man?
There was that whole idea of, using the Fejon civilians, but that's kind of...
No, that's a few months from now plan. That's a we've already lost that needs to be done later kind of idea.
Yeah.
Otherwise, you're sending Julian into a war zone or into the path of an oncoming fleet.
Right.
So
this will be interesting.
This will be a problem. Who do you think Reinhardt sends to the Isilon Corridor?
I don't know. I'm really not sure, because I feel like that's something that would be, like, it's possible that he could send Ruhenthal because he doesn't want Ruhenthal to gather too much more glory, but that would also kind of piss Ruhenthal off even more. So,
I don't think it would piss him off. If anything, I feel like it would give him command of an entire fleet.
Sure.
So if anything, Ruhenthal has more opportunity for glory because you can't attribute anything that fleet does to Reinhardt, really.
Yeah, and if he did actually manage to take Isilon, and that would be, yeah.
Or even just run past it really quickly somehow and end up getting, to attack Yang's flank like they were talking about as their strategy there.
Right.
Well, no, that would be the big fleet attacking the flank, because there wouldn't be any fortress to slow them down on the Fejon side. So yeah,
right.
That's right.
Yeah.
I feel like it's going to come down to who Yang decides to basically put in charge of Isilon if he leaves it.
Right, and will he be able to avoid the Reinhardt's armies and forces that will be waiting for him to do that so that they can kill him?
Yeah, if anything, that's why Yang having Julian sent that way means that Yang has the potential to have an early warning system, depending on how fast transmissions go in this galaxy.
Right.
So, yeah. Yeah. But, y'all, without further ado, let's get into this.
All right.
We've got our troop assignments. We've got our fleet assignments.
Ragnarok is underway. Yep.
We are moving.
And,
okay.
Yang and Bukak and Julian, they've figured out more or less what's going on. And it's not going to change anything, it seems like, because the Alliance doesn't want to listen.
Yeah, it's something where the Alliance can't really see the truth here. They've set themselves up for failure in this regard, but it is also something where Bukak doesn't have anything that should be able to convince them either way. So I wouldn't put the blame on the Alliance or Bukak in this immediate sense. This is something that was set up to fail a long time ago.
Yes.
So in that respect...
Even if they had convinced them, they probably wouldn't have been able to do anything to stop it.
Exactly. And also, to be fair, this is something that if they had more people in Fejon, like Yang was doing, and they maybe do have people in Fejon that could end up giving them a little bit of warning, The problem is that it's still going to be too late.
Right.
So what's going to end up happening probably is we're going to have Yang doing some clever tactics against Ruintal, which I love the fact that Ruintal is going to get the opportunity to prove himself here. Although I am weirdly confused as to why Reinhardt split his two greatest commanders apart when they have so much battle synergy together and all of that. And that seems a little bit curious. So, okay. We've got Yang's fleet and everything there, and we kind of surmised a little bit by past data and then also some stuff which we got from our person who gives us kind of the background info just to keep everything kind of organized here, that Yang's fleet is still only a third of the size of what Ruintal's coming up with. Okay, so there's potential problems there.
Yeah. Now, he does have the fortress, so he'll probably be okay. And Ruintal's got a good head on his shoulders, so he's not going to do another blunder like all the blunders we've seen in the Isilon Corridor.
True, yeah.
So there is that.
Competence against competence is
right,
exciting.
Exactly.
Because then tactics can be planned around, but also tactics on both sides could work.
Yang versus Ruintal is one that is a matchup that I've always wanted to see.
Same, yeah.
Just because, like, Ruintal, I would say, is, I mean, Mittermeier is a badass too, but, like, ever since Kierheist died, like, because I always figured it would be Kierheist versus Yang, and then eventually it would be, like, Reinhardt versus Yang, right?
Right, that's what I thought too.
But now that Kierheist is
going to last a lot longer in the show.
Yeah. But now that Kierheist is gone, I feel like Ruintal kind of fits that bill.
He does,
of sort of the second best in the Empire, as far as commanders and things like that, or admirals.
With Mittermeier either being is equal or closely behind him. Yeah.
Right, exactly. Yeah. So I'm curious to see what happens at the Isilon Corridor, because I feel like even though it is just a distraction, and it's to keep Yang tied up over there, it could get a lot more interesting than it would have needed to be if it had been a less competent officer attacking.
Yeah, so my thought is that Reinhardt is aware of where the competency of his people lies. And that's one of the things that the show has constantly reminded us is that he is very good at delegating military authority.
Right.
This is one of the things that sets him up to be, I would say, Yang's equal. Because in a lot of ways, Yang is a better, I would say, strategist in terms of what we've seen thus far, because he's able to pull off absolute miracle victories with far less forces.
Right.
And we haven't seen Reinhardt been put to that test yet. So in this case here, the way Reinhardt can be shown with his competency is how he's delegated these forces here. So what I want to have the show prove to me was that Ruintal being split up from Mittermeier was actually a very good idea. Because what I see here is that Yang is actually, it's pointless. It's almost pointless to do anything other than slow him down. So if Yang sees him being slowed down there as long as possible for as few Imperial lives as possible, then the next thing is then what's your secondary objective? It would be to literally probably blitzkrieg the entire alliance, systems.
While Yang is gone.
Well, right, but do it as fast and as efficiently and as totally as possible.
Yep.
And even if that just means going straight to Heinesen and just pulverizing their entire fleet to where it doesn't matter what Yang does.
Right, because he only has the fleet at Isilon and that's it. He's not going to get reinforcements.
Yeah, what you could then just do is be like, who gives a frick about Yang? We just guard the way back to the Empire while we're over there. And then it doesn't matter. And he has so many fleets in order to do this with that he's got Mecklinger and Kessler back at Odin because he's thinking ahead about those things. So good job, Reinhardt.
Yep.
But then he also has, as well, a rear fleet plus the 3 fleets that will be going to Isilon. Why doesn't he just basically leak info that they're going to Isilon and then just go, no, we're not actually coming? They just wait forever for a fleet to come that never shows up.
Maybe, but I feel like they want to put enough pressure on that since the Alliance isn't buying the fact that Reinhardt's going to go through Fejon, and they said, hey, if they do end up needing more military hardware, send it to them. Once Ruintal puts on the pressure,
then they send fleets away from Heinesen.
Okay. So then not only are they outnumbering the Alliance fleets that are left behind, but they're also in disarray, and then they just wipe the floor.
Right, but since Reinhardt knows that Yang, at the very least, he shouldn't know. Actually, Does Reinhardt know, or is that only Fejon that knows that Yang knows?
Reinhardt might have predicted
Suspicions.
that Yang would have predicted this,
Yeah, so if anything, I like that plan, because what that ends up doing is it weakens Heinesen, making his fleet take over a much easier thing there.
Yeah.
So then maybe what it would need to be is that you need a competent enough commander that could then engage Isilon, but not lose actually their fleet. Basically make a really flashy show of it.
And a sustained show of it.
Right. I guess.
Because, like, Imperial fleets that go to the Isilon Corridor don't exactly have a great track record. Like even when they have some pretty crazy advantages on their side, but something ends up happening because Yang's there.
Yeah, but
that makes it all go horribly.
Yeah, but that's because 0 of them actually had the goal of providing a distraction. All of them had the stupid idea of actually trying to take Isilon Fortress.
That's a good point.
See, this is Sun Tzu's Art of War. You don't attack a walled fortress. You just don't do it. So what you do is you siege it,
starve them out.
and you just sit there. So what I would do personally is I would look at this and go, I don't really care who the fleet commanders are. In fact, send Bittenfeld. Like literally.
No.
Like, no. I know that's a bad
He'd get the delusions of grandeur.
No, exactly. But what you do, no. I'm aware of the, yes. It's why Bittenfeld is literally as far away in his whole strategy from Isilon as he could be. But you have Bittenfeld be there with, 2 other fleet commanders, and they basically just do a bunch of really
harass
tactics on the fleet of the alliance that's there. But then they keep just doing that whole circle and dance. And Yang, even if Yang basically has that foreknowledge to then go, don't send reinforcements this way.
And they listen.
Right, exactly. Because they wouldn't send any. All that does is that Yang then eventually has to abandon the Isilon Fortress and leave it to any number of fleet. And if he leaves even, let's say, 2,000, 3,000 ships there, I'd say that would be enough to hold off the Imperials still, because then you could then just kind of circle around and stuff like that. I think then this is a thing of where you just go, Reinhardt, let them have Isilon. Who cares? We have the Fejon Corridor. We literally do not care at that point. And then you basically just go, yeah, Isilon, you can just chill there. Who cares? Your nation that you're tied to is meaningless and broken and now under Imperial rule. Who cares? You own 0.2% of the galaxy now. I just feel like at this point, there should be a point where they basically realize, oh, we did our job. Cool. Let's back out. Make them think that they can leave. And then it doesn't matter whether or not they leave or not, because if they leave, then we come in again. If they stay, then we've won. It's literally a win-win. So I feel like you would want the most competent commanders on the Fejon Corridor to get the Alliance whole thing there, because you don't know what their fleet could be. Say the Alliance has 50,000 ships or 30,000 ships or something.
Sure. Well, that's one of the things that I find really interesting about this. It was, we were able to get the numbers on what the Isilon Corridor, right? What Reinhardt sent over there, right? But as far as through Fejon, like the rumor from the previous episode was 1 million ships. This doesn't seem like 1 million ships.
No.
Now that's a rumor, so maybe that's just the whole point. It's a big blown out of proportion thing,
right?
And it is still a ton of ships.
Yeah.
But it's not quite that many. But given that the Alliance was able to field 200,000, and granted that drained almost all of their resources for that, right?
Right.
I would think the Empire would be able to field something at the very least similarly now. Now, maybe they've also had the resources drained from failed attacks and whatnot. But,
possibly,
but if they have anywhere close to that, and there's only 36,000 in the Fejon Corridor, or the Isilon Corridor, the Alliance is screwed. Unless there's some critical failure at some point in the plan, right? They just win.
Right, and maybe that's why he puts Ruintal there. Is he's like, I want to have one
covering
extremely
bases,
competent. So this is Reinhardt being a little bit, not just pragmatic, but maybe a little bit a little bit cautious.
Sure.
A little bit cautious here. And yet, yeah, if the Fejon forces number more than 100,000, then yeah, the Alliance is just screwed. There's no statistical advantage that they could gain from this that wouldn't lead to the Alliance being destroyed. So Ruenthal's great line of let's play the first, what did he say, the first note?
Bar of
the
Requiem for the Alliance. Like, yeah.
Oh my God. All right.
Let's do it.
I can't wait to see what kind of stuff Yang pulls out because there's like 68 episodes left in this show.
Right, exactly.
So this can't be the end.
Well, but it could be the end of the Alliance. That's
But I don't even think it's going to be that either.
Yeah.
I really don't. I think if anything, what's going to happen is Yang is literally going to have to, for the sake of the Alliance, retreat from Isilon and give like a very small core fleet with like some very specific named characters the charge of do whatever it takes.
Hold the line.
Hold the line. If they think they can distract me here, then they win. It doesn't matter what happens here as long as you guys are able to maintain this fortress.
Oh man.
So if I can engage them on one side, then I can pull out all my stops, everything I can, and just become an annoying buzzing bee swarming around their fleet and just using the fact that they're probably going to take too long to respond to my attacks, maybe. No, the Empire is really good at having autonomous leadership and stuff. So yeah. Okay.
So, but back to the episode. That's the Isilon Corridor situation. But with the whole thing of splitting up Ruenthal and Mittermeier, I got some of that same feeling too. Like I personally think that sending Ruenthal to the Isilon Corridor is like the best option for the purpose of handling the Isilon Corridor, but it does feel like something where it has that dual purpose of splitting up him and Mittermeier, and the fact that like he left Mecklinger and the other guy, I forget his name, in
Odin?
In Odin.
Kessler,
that's right. It felt very necessary, watch over the home fort, right? But also it kind of felt like, hey, there is that possibility that Ruenthal like gets some crazy ideas or whatever, so I want to maybe guard for that specific opportunity.
Sure.
But and then things like having Bittenfeld be in the reserve, it's like, okay, that didn't seem like a punishment thing. It seemed like there was an intentional reason behind it. Like maybe it's that Reinhard learned his lesson.
I think it's both. Yeah, I definitely think that there's no hard intentional like soul punishment for it. But yeah, it is definitely a punishment. It is 100% a
I can't quite trust you at the front lines.
Yeah, you have failures under your belt, whereas a lot of these other people just don't. So sorry, you get to go in the background. And even Fahrenheit, who was connected back to the whole Nobles situation and stuff, sorry, no, you as well. You're both really good at what you do.
Right.
But, I have other commanders and fleets I can take, so I don't need you guys there yet. But if and when I do, you guys are the kind of people where I can just go, let's send them all in. And
the
then
panties, the panties are waving in front of you.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure our boy Bittenfeld would give Fahrenheit's fleet like a movement speed buff just by being in proximity.
Exactly, yeah.
I played those RTSs before.
Oh, definitely.
All right, so Julian is doing a great job of seeding like future plot kind of stuff with regards to Fejon having to deal with the fact that yes, they are selling out their independent space to the Empire. So when those nobles and those people of this money and stuff, they'll go wait a minute, because they were unaware. They have no idea. They have no idea what's coming. So I love that Kesserling was actually like,
hold on, shut up, kid. I gotta step in here.
Yeah, exactly.
Right.
And then
of course, Julian Superior is the one that steps in, and it's just that's poetic and fitting.
Well, right. He is doing his job, though.
Oh yes, of course.
He doesn't want people to come in and kill Julian or something.
And given that he is on the clock essentially right now, it's like, whoa, hold on now, kid.
Yeah.
like
this is politics and stuff.
Exactly.
We have to play nice a
right.
little bit.
But it does seem rather fitting given the fact, or not fitting, but it has a nice ring to it given the fact that the reason why a lot of these people are, going up to talk to Julian anyways is because he was transferred here by TrueKnit, right? Mm-hmm. So it's like, oh yeah, let's cozy up to this kid, and then he starts, telling them things that'll keep them up at night, and they'll be like, wait a minute. Like the fact that there was the one guy who's like, no, that would never happen, and he's like, are you sure? Couldn't it, whatever? And he's just like, ha ha ha. Like,
well, right, no, his thing was he was saying, yeah, we would never do that. Military vessels cannot enter our space. Only merchant vessels can. And he's like, yeah, who decided that? And it's the Empire, and he goes, oh,
yeah, right.
It's a perfect little moment to have the simple animation in this show just really taken to the next level, where the hard transition to the serious face of, oh my god.
You know what it made me think of?
What?
It's kind of unrelated, but it made me think of that ProZD video of the, hey son, I see you're watching another one of your hentai. This is a let's play. Oh, what the heck is hentai? I need, this changes things.
Yeah, they're going to start investing in different stuff as I'm nervous.
Just in case, yeah.
Just in case, I'm going to invest in some war bonds.
Yeah, well, oh man.
I'm going to buy some imperial businesses and stuff,
right.
Just in case, just in case.
But Kesserling also did something else this episode.
Yeah.
And I got to say, I like his style, not necessarily in the way that he's doing it, but I like that he's starting to really take action, and he's got those big ambitions and everything. And okay, now he's trying to, get inside the Church of Terra, and all right, cool.
Yeah.
I've been wanting to see how the Grand Bishop gets brought into these conflicts, because I'm not sure whether it's I am actually one of the serious late game kind of antagonistic figures or just forces in this galaxy, or if it's I'm the mysterious guy that's going to end up getting taken out, but it was really cool build up and a great journey along the way kind of a thing,
Yeah, so, if anything, he feels more like a tool at this stage because he's connected to a radical group of extremists that then they can push into specific conflicts and then benefit from.
Okay.
So Kesserling obviously couldn't couldn't care at all about the Church of Terra in terms of what their beliefs or goals are or anything like that.
His lines were rather good on that subject.
Yes, exactly. So in this case, the fact that he then just uses one of the classic, blackmail tactics here with Vice, basically, and it looks like it's going to work. Is this guy going to be one of those, Baltics, one of the equivalents of where it's someone that wants to move up, but there's such a dead end in terms of the potential usefulness they have for their masters and such. So in this case, Kesserling being just open and direct about wanting to take down Rubinsky with someone who we just got introduced to. I very much see this guy's usefulness playing out in a very short timeline.
Oh, yeah. Unless Kesserling is a lot more successful than I expect him to be, in which case maybe he'll stick around longer. But
Kesserling is most definitely endgame, I would say.
Oh, really?
Because, Rubinsky is not going to make it through this guy there. They're building this whole thing up. This whole story is very thematically about the younger generation taking the reins of this galaxy after the old ones have passed away and died.
Gotcha. Because I wouldn't be surprised if Rubinsky... Because Rubinsky's got a really good head on his shoulders. He knows what Kesserling's about,
Really?
Yeah.
We haven't seen anything, in my opinion, showing him actually directly counteracting Kesserling's strategies.
And what that makes me think, given that he's aware of it, is that he feels competent enough to handle him. To basically still get use and benefit out of Kesserling. And then once Kesserling has outlived his usefulness, which will be for, it will be a lot further off than, say, this new bishop that was introduced, then I'm thinking that's when Rubinsky will get rid of him.
Yeah.
But Kesserling could win out, but,
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah, I completely disagree because he's got the whole father-son thing going on there, and he actually like views him as a son, whereas this kid is like, no. Like you're garbage to me. Like there's absolutely nothing that, you know, I see as like being, you know, that I care about you because of how you treated my mother. So if anything, there's all the emotional, all this extra reasons as to why Kesserling really dislikes this guy, and Rubinsky we just don't get focus on him anymore.
Oh.
It's all Kesserling.
I mean, that is a very good point. We haven't gotten real focus on Rubinsky in a while, but I always saw Rubinsky as it being the thing of, that's what I say with the silver tongue, to be like, oh yes, of course, you are my son and this is great. And it's like, no, you're trying to kill me? Yep, yeah, I'm totally gonna kill you, kind of a thing. But we'll see.
Yeah.
The other thing that I thought was kind of interesting as far as the open and honest kind of angle is that our resident assistant to Yang just sort of apparently confessed her love for him to Julian, but in a flashback.
Yeah.
So
that was a kind of a surprise thing of like, oh, you guys talk about this.
Yeah, like, okay,
cool.
Because
so
like we figured as much, but yeah,
and that's why he's been kind of pushing Yang in that direction. Mm-hmm. Okay, so Julian's been kind of her wingman in that respect.
Sure. Yeah.
That's kind of cute in that respect. But in some ways, it's like, dude, Yang. Oh man.
Like it's the kind of thing that makes me think that there's going to be some bigger development on that little subplot soon because that was brought up. But at the same time, since it hasn't really been getting too much focus lately, I'm wondering what that development's going to be.
Okay.
You know?
I'd say there's a very quick, easy prediction here.
Okay.
Frederica has to stay on Isilon. And then when Yang leaves, it's an awkward goodbye.
Sure. All right. Yeah,
where he's
there
all
you
like,
go.
hey, you know, stay alive, okay? Mm-hmm. And then she's like, hey, no. You stay alive.
Yeah.
And then it's like, okay.
No, you.
And then Shunkov's like, just kiss already. like,
and then Poplin's like, just get a room already. But, okay.
Yeah, I could definitely see them having to be split up because of what ends up happening just in this overall conflict. And that would be something where Frederica staying on Isilon makes the most sense, because if Yang loses, like if Yang just would die and everything like that, the only remaining vestiges of the Alliance would be on Isilon. Like that would be it.
Yeah, basically.
Yeah. I mean, other than maybe some people in Fejon, but this is assuming Fejon survives.
Well, and doesn't already own the people that are in Fejon. Like let's be real.
Wait, who owns who? What?
Well, there was the whole little comment that Bucock made to the Alliance, politicians of like, I mean, it's not like Fejon, unless Fejon actually does financially support this government, like, but which was great, even though maybe
we know Fejon does that.
Right, exactly. Yeah. But I would not be surprised in the slightest if that's also something where they're like, yeah, the Alliance's people that are on Fejon, we slot them in a little extra something, and
right,
they kind of do what we want.
And then that spills over into the Alliance slowly over the course of time.
Sure,
which is probably where Trunit came from. And I mean, let's be real,
probably
Trunit's whole thing just reeks of corruption, and where the money is, Fejon is probably where most of the corruption is. So
right, Trunit doesn't seem to have any particularly grand reasons for his aspirations other than that he wants power and stuff.
Right. I am politician.
Exactly.
I will politic my way.
I've got my dashing smile.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. But hey, here we go. We're getting big numbers thrown around, big named characters going on very specific objectives, encountering other big named characters. Stuff's gonna go down. People are gonna die.
Oh,
it's gonna be
glorious.
So, y'all, thank you so much for watching this episode's reaction and discussion. If you want to see the next episode's reaction and discussion right now, though, go check out the link in the description below for our Patreon. You can get on early access there. You can watch full-length timer reactions there. And all this comes with Discord access, so you can chat with us and the community there about this show, about anime in general, and you can also talk with Jacob about the sci-fi novel that he wrote.
That's right. I wrote a sci-fi novel with way fewer characters than this show. But if you want to check it out, it's on Amazon. The link's in the description down below.
Yeah, so if any of that interests you, we'll see you there. But until then, we're Semblance of Sanity. I'm Caleb.
I'm Jacob.
And we'll see you all next time.